Hey, we're Tiff and Jill, and we're gonna piss off your trainer, challenge everything you've been told, and show you what actually works for your body after 40.
If you've been doing everything right and still feel like shit, you're in the right place. Welcome to MoonBody, and let's help you get to your best damn life.
Hey guys, today we get to interview my bestie, Tiffany, and hear her story coming into MoonBody. And this is what I'll tell you. It's actually super impressive, but it led to a great change in her life. Tiff was handling all of the spinning plates, 10,000 spinning plates, I feel like. She had her 2 kids with her big kid husband. She was handling a ever-changing schedule at the gym, and honestly just really came to the realization that there was more to life than what she was living. And it was a bumpy road to get there.
Yes.
But we got there, and we learned so much along the way. So without further ado, Tiffany!
So to set the stage, I had 2 young kids.
Yep.
My husband worked out of town, and he would be gone for 4 to 7 days. He'd be home for 2 to 4 days. And so I was doing all the laundry, all the cleaning, all the cooking, dropping kids off at 2 different schools because one's in school and one's in daycare or preschool. Driving out to the gym with weird gym hours. If you don't know gym life, you're here super early
Or
sometimes
late.
you're super late.
Sometimes in between.
Balancing babysitters outside of normal school care hours. Obviously still trying to get my own fitness in. And I feel like every normal woman at that time, I was also like, you know what I should do is have chickens and goats in a garden.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
Let's just do more.
Let's just do it.
So I was feeling fairly overwhelmed, but I didn't really realize it yet.
Yeah. So tell us kind of how you came to the realization that you were overwhelmed.
I didn't really realize I was overwhelmed because I was like, I have a system. On this day, I'm going to do grocery pickup. And on this day, I'm going to clean all the bathrooms. And on this day, I do the laundry. And on this day, I literally had timers that I would set to be like, all right, if we cuddle for 10 minutes, we can be to bed on time. It was so freaking ridiculous. And then all of a sudden I was like, if one little thing did not happen on my system, it threw everything off. And I realized this is not how life is supposed to be. I felt like I was drowning and I just needed someone to help me. And I realized I could help myself.
Yeah. Okay. So as you started to come to that realization, what steps did you take, or where did you start to look to help you break those patterns?
So first, which we talked a little bit about this on your interview, was kind of that the journey within, I would say, the spirituality, learning how to truly meditate and get in touch with my higher self or my true inner voice and what I was longing for that maybe I was stifling or afraid to listen to because it didn't go along with tradition or culture or things that felt like the norm to me. And so that made me feel so much stronger in just truly trusting what I wanted, even if it wasn't the norm.
Yeah. So what kind of things did your inner self, higher self, whatever you want to call it, kind of start to guide you towards?
Well, I think the scariest thing, which this is why you're a great business owner, but also a really good friend, because
I'm a little nervous.
where are we going with this?
Oh God.
I don't want to say I did not fire a client, but I definitely handed off a third of my income because the hours weren't matching and the energy drain that this person was. I was like, I'm going to be happier, even though I'll have less money. I'll be happier without this person, which I think as a business owner, you probably could have been like, oh my God, that's my income too. But you weren't at all. You were like, I see this for you. You're right.
Also, in my
she might have spearheaded it.
I felt it.
So I made that change, chose my happiness over the money. What else? I made some schedule changes. The biggest change was deciding I wanted to homeschool our kids. But to do that, to be able to stay home enough hours to do it well, we had to sell everything and move into an RV, which was really scary, but also really exciting.
But there was part of you that with the moving into the RV, there was a deeper longing that went along with that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Montana,
freedom,
yes.
travel, like these things, right?
Nature. So I was born and raised in Montana, and I feel like about half the cells in my body just are screaming to go back there at any given day. And so part of the idea was if we have that RV, we could travel back. We'd have more freedom to travel to places like that. And maybe out in the future, we could just buy land and move out there. We're just already mobile. We don't have anything holding us
Tying
here.
us down.
So that big scary leap opened a lot of doors and options, which I've learned about myself through some of that spirituality journey, the freedom, the options, and the little bit of adventure are super important to my soul and to my heart.
Now, I think we keep saying spirituality because to us, that's what it is. But really underneath it all, what I hear is that you just turned all the noise around you off enough to hear what your heart was actually longing for.
Yes.
So if you like literally laid that on the line, what would it be right now?
What my heart's longing for now?
Well, or like at that time, what was your heart longing for? What's the thread that runs through all of it?
I guess honoring myself and freedom would be in there. And this is where I didn't even realize I had this series of systems that were just tethering me down every moment of the day. Like, no wonder I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
I just felt trapped.
Yeah, and when your actual authentic self is freedom, the freedom to choose what you do, when you work, the freedom how you live your life, like just, and me knowing you, ultimate authentic self is a free rebel woman.
Oh yeah.
Like is how I would describe it, right?
For sure.
So in a world that really rewards optimization, systemization, of course, you felt like you were achieving by doing that, but you were doing it at the cost of your authenticity.
Well, and it just shows you how easy I was to listening to all the things that you're supposed to do. Well, you're supposed to get the house, and you're supposed to have a normal schedule, and you're supposed to send your kids to a great private school, which we were, and you're supposed to have these systems because that's what a successful mom does or woman does. And I hated every second of it, but I didn't realize I hated it. Yeah. I didn't realize it was killing me slowly.
But I think as you kind of went through this process and got to where we are today, systems do play an important part. So talk to us about how you came, because if you guys didn't know this, Tiffany's nerdy self, authentic, like investigator, knowledge seeker, educator, you are really in the weeds and you love the body. Yes. So there are some things that you came, as you found your freedom and started to execute some systems that you were called actually more into. Talk to us about what those were. Gut health is what I'm alluding to.
I was going to say, let's start with the gut. Well, I was like, gut, nervous system. Let's start with the gut because I think that one hit me first because of the science and the love of the body. Because up until that point, it was macros, get your protein. It's okay. You could fit a pizza or tacos as long as it's in your numbers. But then when I started to really learn what happens in our gut, just period, when we're eating that type of stuff and not eating the quality, but then also for women as we get older and how the nervous system affects the gut. And that's when I started doing things like the MoonBody Total Reset Protocol or researching. And because we're not the ones that came up with this.
No.
This is out there. There's tons of people doing this, but we certainly took the parts that we loved the most or moved the needle for us.
And I do think that there's not a lot of people looking at it through the lens of which we look at it. And that is because of our unique backgrounds, coming from a gym, coming from bro science, finding a spiritual path, finding our authenticity through that, and then bringing that holistic perspective.
Which I don't think, if I hadn't have had that journey of trusting myself and feeling how good it felt to just do what my heart wanted and being open to alternative, a non-norm, I don't know if I would have been as open to when I listened to different scientists or doctors talk about gut health and drinking celery juice and all these things. I probably would have just scoffed and gone back to my protein shake. But I didn't. And thank God I didn't, because it made a huge difference. I think the biggest thing when I got my gut under control is I had so much more patience with my kids, which was huge. I had no longer had like a little short fuse. You see it all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm impressed.
I feel so much more grounded. But the other thing was, and as my best friend who shares an office with me and many road trips and many restaurants, I was a lifelong tummy troubles girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which a ton of you are. I was not a lifetime, but in the years leading up to the new protocol, for sure.
And I went down the path, which I'm sure my favorite thing you just posted the other day was like, at this point, every woman over 40 is running a self-directed clinical trial. And that's how I felt. I was like, well, maybe I have this thing. And I was researching weird gut things online and trying different diets because it wasn't that I could tolerate gluten sometimes. I could tolerate dairy sometimes. Like I couldn't find a pattern because the pattern was stress. It wasn't the specific food wasn't the problem. It was the stress was the problem.
So tying a little bit of science and woo together, what I heard you say is that you trusted your gut instinct to heal your gut.
Yes.
And by healing your gut, it invited a massive transformation.
Yeah.
All throughout your life.
Throughout my whole life.
Yeah. So walk us through, you gave us some of the corrections to symptoms, right? You had more patience with the kiddos. You identified your authentic self and started to make moves. Who are you today? Who have you transformed into, knowing that you're still in the metamorphosis?
A giant pain in the ass, probably, for a lot of people.
Okay.
In a good way. You laughed a little bit. I feel like you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so because I see it from a lot of different hats, right? As your bestie, I'm like, fuck, let's go. As a business owner, I'm like, wait, what? But all the while being like, I see the truth. Yes. I see the truth to self underneath it all. So I can't even get mad.
No.
On any front.
A lesser person might, but you wouldn't.
No.
I definitely feel very anchored in who I am and what I want. And obviously that gets a little gray sometimes. And it's usually because
it changes.
Yeah, it changes. Life gets a little stressful. So you have to adjust. But I think that's the common thread throughout is that I've really identified what is important to me and what my values are. And it's so much easier to make decisions based on that and based on what I would love versus what do I feel like I'm supposed to do? What do I feel pressured to do? Yeah. Things like that.
So this actually brings us back around to part of what you were just talking about with your gut intelligence that we didn't crack open, and that's the nervous system. So how did you create the safety for that metamorphosis, for that transformation? And what did you start to learn through those systems? That, I mean, I'm just leading us to where we are today, but I definitely saw it because what I witnessed before, especially when you were first starting down this path and you were frazzled, for lack of a better term, right? I could see the burnt out ends of life and how everything was pulling and tugging, right? But you definitely, not the gut health started it, but there was a lot more things that you began to embody. I know you started doing breath work and energy healing and some of the woo, but there was other things that you have brought, like to Cobra, to MoonBody, that really centered your nervous system.
I know one of the biggest movers for me was doing yoga every day. And it wasn't that it was the specific practice of yoga. I think the difference maker there was spending 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time I had, quietly with myself, breathing and moving my body and being in touch with my body. I think that was probably the biggest thing.
Can I add one thing without derailing you? As both your friend and as office colleague, I saw that embodiment and the grounding come with that. So it was like allowing you to ground and get clarity within yourself. But then also that's really where I think I saw the change with, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but you just became more embodied or more whole and more yourself. And grounded is probably the best way to describe it, but it was just like centered.
Centered, grounded. Yeah. But I think it was important because I'm sure so many of you feel this, that from the moment before you even get out of bed, you probably woke up in the middle of the night thinking of your running to-do list, the permission slips, you got to sign to the insurance guy, you got like so many things you got to do that you have no check-in with yourself. And so I was religious about doing yoga every day. Literally, even if I was like, I have 2 minutes, I'll do like a quick little sun salutation. But it did. It made a huge difference. And that kind of started me, again, little nerd out about how does the breath and the nervous system and being connected to the body, how does that help us? Why is that making me feel so unstressed? I was so curious. And that led me to, I did a somatic certification course. And so then I got a bunch more tools. I've offered some courses at the gym, which people in the gym, they don't know. They think they're coming to roll out their body, take care of their muscles. And they don't know that I've sprinkled in things to make them feel so relaxed and more regulated when they leave. I think those are probably the major ones. Anything else that you think I'm missing there?
No, I don't think you're missing anything. I think it's just interesting, my perspective versus your perspective, because as I watched it kind of unfold, what I actually saw, what I actually think was huge for you, and you bring it into all of your life, is that time in yoga and being grounded and centered. And then somewhere along the way, you figured out doing it outside was your jam.
Yeah.
And you've always been naturey, but there was definitely a distinct point in that where I was like, the elements became an actual part of you. And that's where I feel like the RV and where you are and what you see and how nature applies to your nervous system and to who you are really started to come through, which is not, I mean, that's nervous system. Yeah. And then you being able to hear the permission slip to do it. But like, it's so multifaceted and multidisciplinary and holistic that it's really interesting how it all came together.
But I think it's just the perfect example of a few things. One is that you don't exist in a vacuum. You're part of a very advanced ecosystem that if
civilization.
one thing shifts, it's going to impact you. But also, I don't remember what the other point, my other thing was there. Oh, I can't remember it.
It's okay.
It'll come back.
Nature. So here's the spicy question for you, Tiff. So I know that a time came when you realized that everything in the gym was bullshit. Not like the gym, but the science behind it. And there's no doubt that your scientific intellectual has picked up on this along the way. And I would definitely say in MoonBody, we are both very on this train, but you drive the train of fuck bro science and unlearn the bro science, right?
The bro science.
Talk to me about when that hit and how it has changed who you are.
I think in hindsight, I probably wasn't aware of it now, but sitting right here, as soon as you asked me that, what came up was like, I knew it before because when I was no longer doing gym classes because of schedule and working on my own, I didn't choose the bro science stuff. I chose what I probably was aware that I needed, which is what we do in MoonBody.
Which is what I ended up doing on my own too.
Yeah, like I think because we were in touch and listening to our bodies, that's what it wanted. And it's still hard to reconcile giving people maybe what they want, what they think they want, with also what they need.
And what
it's a balance.
Pop culture's telling them
to
do.
So many conversations. One thing that was so eye-opening for me, it was a few months ago, I posted online which type of workout would be better. And without fail, almost every single person picked the one that would have stressed them out more, even though they thought that was the one they should pick.
And a couple of people got defensive about it. It was interesting.
Which now that you are in like a really grounded place, do you recognize in yourself that if you're getting triggered a little bit and defensive, that's exactly where you should look?
Which sometimes I just want to shake people and be like, do you see?
Yeah.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're not ready yet. And that's
You're not ready yet.
That's okay.
What about the female or the feminine really called to you? Because you said, I really hope you said this in the episode, but you said you're called to cycle syncing. Synced training.
So that's kind of the first time right before MoonBody was born that I brought up to you. We were on, if you haven't heard yet,
our epic drive
road trip. I was like, hey, I've been kind of throwing around, like thinking this idea of like cycle synced fitness, because it made sense to me that we should maybe not go into the gym and just expect to perform the same every day, because women are not the same every day. So it made sense to me to sync up your workouts with your cycle. But then again, we dove into the science of it, and that's not actually what we truly need to do. We need to actually change how we're working out. which I actually think even more feminine than syncing to your cycle, is empowering a woman to know analyze how she feels when she goes into the gym that day.
Mood, energy, all of it, just power. How do you feel today? And do what feels right.
Exactly.
I love that. We talked a lot about freedom. So MoonBody, and what you just kind of talked about, that following your inner knowing. Where do you stand today with your freedom? How does it apply to MoonBody? And what would you tell somebody who's looking at you or MoonBody, like, could this be my coach and could this be my program?
Number one, it can be, and it would be awesome. I think I'm going to tell a little anecdote, and I think it sums it up, about how many women, I'll say one specific woman, who's been on macros for years, got no results. And the moment we were able to give her the permission slip to not track her food, to eat as much fruit as she wanted, and literally texting me lines of profanity in a good way of how happy she was and how much energy she had and how she was like, it's so fucking freeing. It is. The whole thing is, not just the nutrition, the fitness, the nervous system, everything. You're able to just feel completely untethered and not bogged down with expectation of yourself, of a program, of anything. And just, it gives you the freedom to remember who you are and to live in a way that honors that. And it feels so fucking good.
And that's where you feel like you're at now?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Well, what woman, aside from the one you already mentioned, really resonates? Who did you see yourself in when they came through the door?
Holly, which is an old friend of mine from back in Montana, and she lives there, but definitely giving all of herself to her family, putting herself last, to the point that it's even hard to choose a 5-minute workout for yourself because the only thing you can think about is all the things you need to do for work, for your kid, for your husband, for your mules.
Which she has.
Yes. So I've loved watching her journey of, building her sleep routine. And that even within less than 7 days, she was already sleeping better, reporting better energy. And that I remember the day that she texted and she was like, oh my gosh, I watched a whole show and I didn't fall asleep on the couch.
I feel that.
Yes.
Okay. I love that. Bring it all home. So if you're a woman out there drowning in the plates that you're spinning, what message would you give her?
I just literally drop them all.
Drop them.
Make yourself the priority and take your own journey. I think Jill and I have both demonstrated that it is a journey. It's not one door.
And it's not a destination.
Yeah. It's an ever-evolving journey. And for sure, if you want to explore your own path and take your own time, do it. But we've also curated a very specific path that we know works. So if you don't have time to build your own journey, we've built one for you.
And if you're like, but my journey would be so different than yours, there's so many women. All right, ladies. So if anything that you heard today really strikes a chord with you, resonates, make sure that you follow, subscribe, stay here, learn more about how a MoonBody method works, but also awesome tips, tricks, I don't know, tidbits
Tips,
that
tricks,
might
and
help
tidbits.
you.
And tiddly bits.
And tiddly bits. That needs to go in a blooper reel. All right, guys, we will see you later.
Thank you.